need to think about the community, the neighborhood. Do your research first before you buy. And I don't mean by, is it a bad neighborhood? That I don't mean that. I mean, what I mean is, how are the homes selling? So let me give you an example. I had a gentleman, a client of mine, who called me because he bought a home and he bought the home for 165 and he wanted me to put it for lease for 1,700, actually 1,700. And it was very difficult to lease it for 1,700 because homes in that neighborhood don't lease for that amount. And so I told him, homes in this neighborhood are leasing for 1,400. You can't lease a home for 1,700. And he goes, well, it's a really nice home. I paid 165. It's in great condition. I'm like, that's correct. But homes in this neighborhood are not leasing for that amount. So what he should have done was he should have first found out from a realtor what are homes in that neighborhood lease for? What is the standard rate? And that's when then he can know that he can what he can rent a house for, and then he can determine what is the most he's willing to pay for a home. So had he done his homework, he would have known that homes in that neighborhood lease for 1,400, and he could have bought a home maybe that cost him less because he's not going to lease it for more than 1,400. So it's kind of like you have to go backwards. Another thing is that recently, I met actually two different builders, individuals that decided that they were going to buy lots, build a home, and then sell that home. And so this one gentleman, for instance, he bought a home. He built a home from scratch. He's an individual, not a builder, but an individual. He built a home, and he calls me, tells me, I want to sell this home for $250,000. Now, homes in that community only sell for $189,000. $189,000, but he wants to sell his home for $250 because he built it from scratch. It's a beautiful home. And so he's saying, well, new homes sell for that amount. Well, that's true, but not in that neighborhood. That's a much older neighborhood. The homes that surround that home sell about $100,000. So he would have been better off building that same home in a different community, and it would have been worth more. Or maybe rent a smaller home, or maybe do a fixer-upper instead. So same thing, he should have worked backwards. He should have contacted a realtor, determined how much can I sell a new home for in this neighborhood? Is that the best neighborhood for me? Should I go to a different neighborhood? Is it really cost effective to build a home from scratch and sell it in that neighborhood? So you always want to work backwards, and honestly, you need to work with a realtor, and it doesn't have to be me. It could be, your personal realtor. But you want to have someone who can do what's called a CMA, a comparative market analysis, and they're going to be able to determine what homes in a particular neighborhood are renting for or selling for. And then you can make the decision as far as how much you want to spend on a home or on building a home. So I hope that helps you. We are going to go to a commercial break, but first, because let me tell you who we're going to talk to. We are going to be talking to some ladies from AVANCE Houston, and so we're going to meet them. But we're going to first, I want to thank our sponsors. I want to go ahead and move on and introduce you to our two guests. So first of all, we have Luz Flores, who's the Executive Director of AVANCE Houston. Welcome, Luz.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you for having us here today.
And next we have Loralie De Leon. She is the Multimedia and Marketing Specialist with AVANCE Houston.
Hi, thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. Well, you know, one of the things, ladies, is first of all, I want to ask you guys a little bit about yourselves. You know, we're here to talk about AVANCE, but I always like to, you know, basically showcase our leaders in our community, because I think that it's always an inspiration to others, you know, to talk to them about what people are doing, what, you know, what Latino leaders are doing, and how you got here also, you know, because we're big on education. And so I think it's important that you tell us a little bit about your background, because people probably wonder, like, how, you know, what if someone wants to be in your position? What do you do to get to that position? So tell us a little bit about your background. So if you would go first.
I will. Thank you, Liz, again for having us here. My name is Luz Flores, again, Executive Director of AVANCE Houston. I have a long journey. I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I migrated from Puerto Rico when I was 19 years old, arrived in Houston, and I have been now in Houston for 33 years. So I consider myself a little bit of cowboy Texan here, but I don't have my boots yet. I hold a master's degree in behavioral science and human resources, and also an undergraduate degree. I went to Our Lady of the Lake University in San Antonio, Texas, and basically I've had about 33 years of experience in nonprofit organizations here in Houston. I have been a single parent, and I have a successful son who lives in New York City, and he does Broadway shows. And so I know the journeys that our parents have gone through, because I've gone through them myself as being a single parent.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you say you worked in, you've been 30 years, I think you said 30 years working in nonprofits. What other organizations have you worked with before?
I have also worked with San Jacinto Girl Scout Council, the United Way, and or an organization called Sierra Jobs for Progress.
Oh, wonderful organizations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've had Sarah on our show at least 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that organization. Certainly the United Way also. And then also, Loralie, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Sure. Well, my background, it's in media production and journalism. So I have a little bit over 10 years of experience in journalism, media, and all the public relations stuff. So it has been a fun, but obviously a lot of sacrifices behind it, as you mentioned earlier. Latinos getting up there, and how do we get there? The ride has not been easy, but I am happy to be a Latina and holding a role here at AVANCE as a multimedia and marketing person and agency. So just encouraging everybody out there that is seeing your show, just not to give up and keep trying, and Latinos, si se puede.
Yes, awesome. And I see that you graduated from University of Houston.
Yes, I graduated from the University of Houston. I am a mother of 3. And 3 boys.
So shout out to your boys.
Yeah.
What are your boys' names?
So I have a 2 teenagers and an 8-year-old. So yeah.
Oh, you look so young.
I know, it's just the looks.
Yeah, you got some good genes there.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? You were formerly an editor-in-chief of La Prensa.
Absolutely. La Prensa de Houston, one of the largest newspapers in Houston that targets the Latino community. Yes.
Wow.
And we were able to recruit her.
Yes,
to AVANCE Houston.
So you're a pro at this. You're
somewhat. You know, sometimes you like how we say it, metemos la pata de vez en cuando, but we're there.
Yeah, same
Vamos
here.
a meterla de vez en cuando.
We're definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, so it, you know, that position and the ones that I've done in the past have learned so much. Everything that I've done, it has been a wonderful learning experience, and happy to be here where I'm at right now.
Well, that's awesome. You know, one of the things that that we do here in our show is we like to, you know, bring to talk to the community about different organizations. But I think that one of the things that unexpected benefit of it is meeting great people, great Latinos, great leaders, great people that are doing things, and that's just like a bonus. You know, that we get to showcase that to the people.
Well, let's actually, would like to do a shout out to you also, because what you do also is very effective in our community, helping parents find their homes, and financial literacy is part of what we do at AVANCE Houston also.
Thank you. And that is one of my goals, is to not just be a realtor, but to educate. I'm big on education, and so that's definitely my goal here. So tell me about AVANCE. Speaking of education, I know AVANCE is big on education and helping the community, the families. So tell me, first of all, about the different programs that you have. I know you've got several programs.
We have several programs. We actually have a holistic model. We call it a 2-generational approach. But the heart of our program is our parent-child education program. And basically, we actually call it a PSAP program. It is a 9-month program in which the parents will come into our programs for 3 hours a week. And the qualifications will be basically between 0 and 3 of age. We will actually provide them with 3 types of education. Basically, the first one is the parent program, which we actually help the parent be better parents by bonding with their children. The second class is regarding parent and toy making programs. So basically what we'll do is we'll help the parent understand what it is to bond with a child through play. And then the third one is our community program, which is also through the parent-child education program. And that one is we bring in different sponsors from the community to talk about the different areas of interest for our parents. It provides them a support opportunity for them to come in and also learn about how do you bond with your children.
Right. You know, I know some people might think that makes kind of like, well, yeah, of course, you know, parents should know already these things. Do you find that people think like?
Well, I will tell you one thing. I felt like I needed to know when I was growing up. I wish I had this program when I was raising my child as a single parent, because you don't know. We don't come with a script. As you all know, as a parent, I'm sure that you know, that when you have your children, you don't know what to do with the children. At AVANCE, we help you provide that resource, be able to raise your children, find out what the social emotional piece between the ages of 0 and 3. We don't know. We don't know what's going on, you know, with our children. So we learn those developmental stages throughout our program.
Yeah, you know, I always remember my mother, at some point I remember she told me, she goes, I didn't know any better. You know, at some point where she felt that she had done something wrong or didn't do something, you know how sometimes kids are, and she said, oh, well, you didn't do this for me, didn't do that. And I remember my mother saying, I didn't know any better. I mean, of course, you know, this was back, I mean, you know, she grew up in the 1920s and 30s, but she didn't have this, she goes, I didn't know any better, I didn't have any other skills.
And Liz, that's a really good point, because I think we are brought up a certain way, and we ourselves did not know. So what we will do is we'll bring that into our children. So what we try to do is stop that. Teach you this is the right way of doing this. You know, sometimes, you know, maybe we were, you know, our mother scolded us when we were young, and we didn't know any difference. So what we teach you at AVANCE is that that's not the right thing to do, to be able to teach your children the right ways of educating them.
Yes, you know.
Well, and just to add on what Luz is saying right now, so the 3 components of the parent-child education program, it's all to embrace communication. We want parents to have that communication. Communication, it's the key to any relationship. I mean, even with your spouse, with your parents, with friends, neighbors, kids. And so what a better way to start with your children, right? So when one of the things that those toys do to our parents and to our families is that it gives them the opportunity to express feelings, but it's also educational, learning colors, shapes, textures, and those are very important elements that when a child is growing. You know, kids learn from the moment they're in the womb. When you find out you're pregnant, the baby's already learning, because he can feel the sounds, he can hear your voice, he can recognize things at the moment he's born, right? And so, adding to what Luz is saying, parents don't get a manual, and so we teach our parents, you know, there's better ways than go to physical punishment, how to talk about sexuality. Even though your child is small, you can talk to them about sex at such a young age, and it's very important nowadays. As a young parent, I have learned so much. I never took the parent education workshop myself, but every time I get to go to and just visit the parents there, I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I'm gonna take this home. So
yeah, and it's very important. You know, when I went to the University of Houston. I have a degree in psychology, and so, you know, as a psych student, I was able to participate in studies. You know, and so we would do it for extra credit. So sometimes we didn't know what was going on in the study. We would just do interviews to help out the professors or whoever was doing these studies, right? And so I remember having an opportunity to go out and meet Latino families. And these are people that at some point in the past, it was a follow-up study. At some point in the past, some of them had gone through a program like yours where they learn about how to communicate with their children and encourage them, you know, education, whatever. And then another one, you know, had not not gone through that, right? And so then we as the college students, we didn't know, who was who. Our goal was just to go over there and meet the follow up, say 5 years later, 10 years later. And I think our point was 10 years later, and we just had a series of questions to ask them. Same thing. We didn't know who we were meeting with. But we knew, it's like after a while you could tell who were the parents that had gone through that program and who weren't. Because the parents that had gone through that program, which was very similar to what you guys do, they knew what their children were doing in school. So because some of the questions would be like, what is your child studying right now in school? What are the classes that he or she is studying? And they're studying history. What are they learning about? And it was amazing that the people that had gone through that I suspected had gone through the program knew, whereas the other ones say, I don't know, well, he goes to school, la maestra sabe. They would leave it basically, they would leave it up to the teacher, right? Whereas you could tell that some of the other parents were very involved and they knew exactly. So I'm like, okay, at some point they were told that was important.
And that's the key. They're really involved. As you know, the first 3 years of growing up is basically you form your personality. So if you don't teach the parents that this is what it is, they can't really bond with their children. So what we do at AVANCE is we try to encourage them to bond closer to their children. And at the same time, it's a support group for them too, because they also become supportive with each other. They form a bond and they will take this beyond once they graduate the 9 months. And we also have other programs that we do offer. So once they're finished with this program, they're able to actually have access to all the additional programs, such as our adult literacy program, such as our healthy marriage program, and also our fatherhood program. So they're able to really access those programs at the same time. So we consider that a two-generational approach, and we're teaching the parents to be better parents. At the same time, the child is also learning in a learning environment.
Right. And you also have a Head Start program?
We also have early Head Start and Head Start programs. We have 20 centers here in Houston. We're primarily in the northwest part of town and also Pasadena. We can, find out more information when we post our website. And but we've been around since 1988 here in Houston for about 30 years now. We just finished our 30th anniversary in November.
Oh, well,
and
congratulations.
Of 1918, and then also we have our national office in San Antonio, Texas, which has been around since 1977. So we've been around for a while, and we are also collaborative also with our organizations, such as the United Way, and also other organizations to help us really talk about what we do.
Right. And what about tell me about this fatherhood. What is it called? Fatherhood?
Fatherhood program basically is to help the father to be a better father. Fathers sometimes who are out there, they're also single parents. So we teach them to be better fathers through various workshops and programs that we offer.
And the way we do this is by explaining the fathers that the woman is not the only person in the family that needs to raise the children. I mean, our motto says parents are the first children, home is the first classroom. And so that embodies the entire family, mom, dad. And so we kind of tell them this is also your responsibility. You're your child's first role model. You're the male that your daughter is going to look up to. You're her first love. And so kind of the majority of our participants are Latinos, and so trying to work that out in that mind of a Latino is kind of hard, but we have been very successful with that program, and it's just amazing the changes that this man are doing to be more involved in their child's education, from going to school to helping them with their homework to helping them change the diaper. I mean, that's just impressive, and it's not longer just a woman's role, it's a male's role too.
It's what we call co-parenting. So co-parenting is very important. The father has to also be involved for the nuclear of the family to really work. If the fathers are not involved, the family will not be involved. Or if there isn't another partner, it could be co-parenting as a father. A father can also be part of a family even though they're not married or have a relationship going on. So we teach them to really understand what the family is.
The importance of it, yeah.
Exactly.
Some people just don't understand that even when they get divorced, how important it is for the father to be in the
continue.
picture.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's very important. Now, are these classes and workshops in Spanish or in English?
We offer them in both
Both
English and Spanish, and so we have collaborations with the school districts, and that allow us to have our workshops there once a week. Like Luz mentioned earlier, the class is a total of 3 hours. It's 3 components. The first one is the toy making session. So we have a curriculum that these toys are specifically for a reason. They're built, and so the parents are sewing, painting, gluing, sticking, stapling, whatever they need to do in order to create this educational toy. Then the second component hour, it's a community partnered. So we have partnerships with the Houston as with Hawk, with the Women's Center. We have basically we ask our parents, what are you interested to know about? So some of the parents are going through domestic violence, some of the parents need information about immigration, how to buy a house, financial literacy. So that's the component with our community partners. And the third hour, it is a curriculum strictly that comes from our San Antonio office, and it teaches them not just how to raise your child, but also nutrition, how to talk to them, how to target certain areas. Why is your son or daughter doing this tantrum? So that, and then the fourth hour is home visitation. So the class is a class setting, and so everybody gets to talk and express their feelings or have, ask questions, and the instructor is there to provide some guidance. But the fourth hour is more personalized because our home visitors go once a week and talk to these parents in a one-on-one. What is going on? Do you have any doubts? Do you have any questions? And so then it becomes more personal. And so that way we go back to our home visitors, go back to the teachers in the office and say, well, this person needs this type of help. And so that's how we are able to provide the resources that we do. So if we cannot offer certain resource, then we go to our community and we refer our families, and this is the way how we do that. So that's what she was also mentioning as the holistic approach, because if the parent is having, from the parent-child education program, if the family is having an issue, maybe they might need a healthy marriage class workshop, and so we do offer healthy marriage. And although the program is healthy marriage, called healthy marriage program, is not really just for married couples. It's just a healthy relations program. It teaches you how to solve conflict resolution, trauma within the family. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that we talk in this program. Then,
you guys certainly offer a lot. Now, let me ask you this. Now, how do people get into the program? First of all, if they want to, not how to contact you, but how do you select people to be in the program?
Well, it's actually word of mouth. We definitely, even our own parents actually refer parents to us. That's the best recruitment source that we have. They can contact us if they meet the qualifications. We certainly can let them know where we're located. We're currently in 4 centers. We're actually in Herrera Elementary. We're at Fisher and also Freeman. Our Dacoma Center has 2, one in the morning session and one in the evening session.
Okay.
The evening session is a bilingual session.
Okay, awesome. Now, also you have an event coming up.
Yes, please do. We have actually, to be able to be successful in our programs, we do fundraisers. And one of the fundraisers that we have is our 5th annual golf tournament, which will be on March the 25th. And it's going to be at the Sugarland Country Club, and we would love to have everybody come. It's a fun day. We start at 10 a.m. to y'all, 10 a.m., and we have fun throughout the whole day. It's our 5th annual, and our participants love it, and also our parents and community love to attend.
And it's so excited just to see how many community partners come together for a good cause, because education is such a great thing, but when you target education towards the family, that's impressive, because when you have a good family, then you have a good household, therefore you're going to have an awesome community.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, ladies, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
For being on our show, and for such great information, and for all the work that you do, of course, also.
Thank you, Liz.
So now, how can they get a hold of you? Let me see if we can put your cards on there. I don't think we have your phone number, but or an email address or something. Can you give us something?
Sure. The phone number is 713-812-0033. And so right now we're recruiting for next year our early Head Start program of the parenting and adult education, healthy marriage. I mean, if you're looking for a GED, the alternative for the high school diploma, we're also recruiting. So we're recruited year round.
And our website is www.avancehouston.org. Please visit us.
All right, guys. Well, then, again, thank you so much. And there you go. If look them up, I'm sure you can find them on the internet, on Facebook. Certainly, you can always contact us or leave a message below, and we will be happy to get your information to them or get you their information. And thank you so much. Our show next week, by the way, is moving to 11 o'clock. We are going to start having our show at 11 o'clock from 11 to 11:30. So we will see you next week. Thank you.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.